So now it's time to start with the CSS part of the project. So for that, we need to use the style.css file. The first thing that I want to change inside the style.css is the universal selector, because by using the universal selector, I can resize the default styling of the browser, which is going to be margin to 0, padding to 0, and then also I need to change the box sizing to border box. If I do that, then you can see the default styling of the browser is actually changed. Then I need to use the body, and here I will be using a font which is going to be like a sans serif one, and then I will be using here a background that is going to be this one, because I want to use a linear gradient function. So here I will be using a linear gradient. Then I will be defining the degree, then the color code, which is going to be like 3494E6, and then I need to define another color, which is going to be like EC6EAD. If I control save it, then you can see we get the color and we get this repeated pattern. But don't worry, I'm going to fix it. So here for the fixing of this, first I need to set the display to flex, and then I will be here providing the align items to center, and then I will be using here justify content, which is going to be center. So in this project, I will be using the flex to actually center the content of the HSL inside the center of the browser, and then I will be here using the height. So height, that is this one, it is going to be like 100 VH. If I do that, then you can see now the content is actually shifted to the center of the browser, and also the repeated spherical gradient pattern is also fixed. Alright, so after the body selector, it's time to add the code for the container. So here I need to select the container. Inside the container, the first thing is I need to specify the background. So the background is going to be like white color background. Control save it, then you can see the background color is actually applied because I have specified the color to the background. Even you can use here a color also, it will does the same thing. Next, I need to use the box shadow, which is my favorite property. So it is going to 00 20 pixel, and then I need to specify the RGBA. It is going to 0 0 0, and the alpha is going to 0.2. Then you can see the box shadow is also applied to the container. After that, I need to use the border radius. So border radius is going to like 12 pixel, and then I will be using the overflow, which is going to be hidden. Alright, and then I will be using the text align property to actually center the alignments, means center the content, and then I will be using the padding. So padding is going to be like 30 pixel. After that, I will be using the width. So width is going to be auto. Alright, so that is all for the container code. Then it's time to add the code for the h1 element, which is the main heading. So the first thing is I need to change the font size of the heading, which is going to like 28 pixel. That is this one. And after that, I need to specify the margin bottom, which is going to be 20 pixel. Control save it. Then you can see the style code for the h1 element is actually changed. And then I will be here using the color display that will be used to display the color preview. So color display. So also I'm going to cross check the name inside the index.html. So it is like color-display. And I have typed the same name, color-display. Inside of the color-display selector, which is a class selector, I need to first define the width. So width is going to be 400 pixel. And then I need to define the height, which is going to be like 200 pixel. And then I need to define the margin. So margin from top and bottom going to be 20 pixel, and from left and right it is going to be auto. Control save it. Then you can see card height and width is also increased because we have changed the height and width of the color display. After that, I need to change the border radius to actually like 12 pixel. Or I can add here a background color just for the testing purpose. Once we did the all coding, I can remove the code. So you can see now we have see the impact of the border radius. And after that, I need to add the transition, which is applied on the background color. Background-color. Background-color. And then here I need to provide the 0.3s, then ease in out. Alright. And then I'm going to simply remove this color code because now the coding for the color display is actually done. Alright. Because the color of this color display is going to be updated dynamically by using the JavaScript with the use of these sliders. So after the color display and adding the transition property, it's time to add the code for the control class, that is this particular one. So coming back to the style.css, so here I will be using the control, and then I'm going to open the block of the code. Inside of that, first I need to set the display, that is this particular one, display to flex, and then I need to here set the align items to actually center, and after that I need to set the margin. So you can see now the color code means the display property flex and align item center did the changes inside the control, and then I need to define the margin, that is this one. So margin from like here I need to specify 10 pixel, then I need to here specify the 0 pixel. If I do that, then you can see, and then first I'm going to give you, so from all side the 10 pixel margin is applied, and from left and right it is going to be 0. You can see, and also I need to provide the margin here with this particular property. If I do that, 10 pixel margin, and from like left I need to provide the margin 80 pixel. Now it is actually at the center. All right, and then I need to also define the width. So width is going to like 400 pixel. All right, so now you can see the code changes is actually applied to the container. If I refresh it, you will see the changes. After that, we need to add the code for the slider container. So here I need to type the slider container. So inside of the slider container, the first thing is display is going to be flex, and then I need to set the align items, which is going to be center, and after that I need to set the width, which is going to be 80%, and then I need to set the margin, which is going to be left, margin left, which is going to be 40 pixel. So you can see now the content of the slider changes is also applied. So now you can see the code impact is applied to the slider container, and now it's time to add the code for the label. So here I will be adding the code for the label. Inside of the label, the first thing is I need to define the width, which is going to 50 pixel, then font weight, which is going to bold, and then I need to also define the text align property, which is going to set the text to the left. So you can see now the text is actually aligned to the left. It's time to add the code for the input elements, because we have 3 input elements, which is actually the sliders, because our type of the input is actually range. So width is going to be like 60%, and then I need to define the margin right. So margin from right is going to be like 10 pixel. If I do that, then you can see the margin from right is also applied, and now they are actually taking up the shape. So after the input element, it's time to add the code for this particular copy button. But there is a little problem. If you see the final version, there is a lot spacing between these particular sliders, whereas in our version there is no spacing. That is because we have to also specify the code to the controls, that is dot controls division, controls, and then into status block of the code. So the first property is going to be like display is going to be flex. After that, we need to specify the flex direction, which is going to be column, and then I need to specify the align items, which is going to be center. If I do that, then you can see now there is a spaces is applied between these controls division, means this control division, which is actually a hue control, saturation control, and lightness control. Now it's look perfect, and now it's time to add the code for this particular copy color button. So I have specified the ID selector to this particular copy code. If you can see it here, means the copy button. So we need to copy the particular ID, and then here use the hash symbol, and then I'm going to pasting the name of the selector, which is copy button. Because it is the ID selector, that is the reason I need to use here hash symbol. And after that, I will be using here a background color, which is going to be red, and then I will be using the color, which is actually used to change the font color. So color, which is going to be ghost white, that is this one. And after that, I will be changing the border to actually none, and then I will be using here a border radius property, so that we get rounded corner, which is going to be 10 pixel. And then I will be using here transition, which is going to be all. And after that, I will be adding the padding. So padding from top and bottom is going to 10 pixel, and from left and right it is going to be 15 pixel. And then I will be using the cursor to pointer, so that when we hover over the button, then it's going to change the cursor to pointer 1. And after that, I need to change the font size, which is going to be 16 pixel, which will increase the size of the font. And then I need to specify the margin, because right now they are very close to each other. So I need to actually apply some spaces between the lightness slider and also the button. So for that, I will be using the margin top property, which is going to be 20 pixel. So now you can see the button code is also modified. So that's it for the CSS part for this HSL color picker application. I know that I have typed CSS in a very quick way, and most of the CSS property I typed very quickly and explain it in a very quicker way, because it has a lot of CSS. That is the reason I need to do it quickly. So yeah, that's it for the CSS part. In the next part, we're going to start with the JavaScript part of the project, so that when we click on these sliders, means when we change the values of these sliders, either by dragging the left and right, it's going to change the color of this color display.